I'm Anne Smith, I'm 61 and I'm a former nurse. I have a son and a daughter and 3 grandchildren and 3 step-grandchildren. I like Dubai. It is so totally different from where I live in the UK. I live in a 14th century cottage in a village, and here I am living on the 14th floor of a high-rise in, a concrete jungle, but I love it. My issue was being obese. I have always been big, as my mother would term it, from the age of approximately 8. I had children, it went up, it went down. I came here and it just went up. And it was becoming a health issue. I didn't sort of think about it. Doctors constantly telling me that I should do something about it. All my blood work was coming out normal, and in fact was good. I had a healthy diet, I just ate too much. And it wasn't for the sake of overeating, it was the sake of comfort eating. Denial, basically, on that one. I was doing everything that I wanted to do, and so therefore I just carried on. Nobody ever mentioned it. I was always termed a big girl, and that's how I came to look at myself, as a big girl. I had been to, Weight Watchers and aquasizing and all these things, and it always seemed to transpire that I would start with someone and we'd all be enthusiastic and they'd drop out, and then of course eventually I'd drop out. I had to have some surgery and realised that I actually was above the weight for a safe anaesthetic. So, you reach a certain weight and things can become more complicated. It didn't help. I didn't lose the weight. Lost some, put it back. Yes, there was, and it was probably about 20 years ago now, and I discovered I was adopted. But also on the same night as I was informed I was adopted, we discovered that my adoptive father had been molesting my niece and my daughter. And that was the low point, and that's when the weight piled on after that. It was just a case of hit the fridge. So I just carried on. And then somebody said, oh, why don't you try hypnotherapy? I'd stop me smoking. Am I going to be able to be hypnotised? Am I going to walk around like a stuffed chicken? One of my big concerns was the regression bit. Was that going to be an issue? Because not only was there that, but in fact my grandfather molested me when I was about 8, and that's when the weight gain started. That's the thing. That was my fear, that it was going to be something that was going to bring up a whole lot of worse issues, and it wouldn't have any effect. I looked at hypnotherapists in my local area, and that was it. I looked. He put me at my ease, as I expected, because we'd already had a chat, so I was pretty certain that I was going to get on with this guy. We sat, we chatted, and because we sat and chatted, it wasn't an interview, it was let's talk about this, let's talk about that, and we covered some issues, and then he said, well, we better do some hypnotherapy. Jumped on the couch. As I said, did he really want the couch? Because I would make fun of my weight, so I was very self-deprecating. So, oh, do you want your couch to break? No, I'm not going to jump on it. That kind of thing. Humour gets you over these things. And so consequently, he told me off in a very nice way and said, don't look at yourself like that. He talked me through the hypnotherapy, and talked about the fact that you would always be conscious, you would hear what was going on around you, he would take you through it and talk to you, and that's what he did. When the session had finished, he said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "Fine." "How long do you think it took?" I said, "Oh, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. He said it was 45. I don't know whether that was because of the hypnotherapy, because I had been so uptight, going there not knowing what to expect, or just the relief. I don't know. I don't know. I was there for an hour and a half, at least. And so 45 minutes was hypnotherapy, and the other 45 minutes was Russell getting to know me. And that's what he was doing. I opened up to him and completely opened up, and it wasn't easy. And I think it was the longest he spent with me. I'm sure we overran onto his next client, you know, but you never felt you were rushed. At my next session, he said, "You were totally different. You were a different person. You held yourself differently, you talked differently." And it was, I will say it was like a weight being lifted. But in fact, I turned it around and said it was like a thundercloud gone. And I just moved forward from there. It's brilliant. He becomes a friend, which is good. You know, he's there. He'll always remember you. He'll always talk about you, talk to you, you know, make time for you.